opening song. It doesn't make any sense, but it happens on Wednesday. Sometimes it's 7, but sometimes really late. It's the Wednesday Club. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Taliesin Jaffe, executive goth on all the things on the internet. To my left. I think I've introduced yourself.
You're on a
roll. No, introduce yourself to the internet. Everyone does themselves. This is the
Hi,
rule.
I'm Amy Dallen, and this, of course, is Matt Key.
Hello! I'm very tall. I have a delightful wife. She's practically Squirrel Girl.
Just say Dr. Strange.
These are all true facts.
Dr. Strange!
That's so. It's basically his version of Smurf.
Spot on.
That was
right?
amazing. I felt like I wanted to look like about a foot above your head. Be like, hey man. Matt Key is already at Comic-Con. He's already there because he doesn't love us as much as
And
he
of
loves
course,
Comic-Con.
This is the subject of today's episode. This is our
Matt Key not
Comic-Con
loving
special. Yes,
I'm
Matt
so
Key not
sorry.
loving us.
This is the
Matt Key, why
Matt Key
you
doesn't
don't
love
love
us episode of Wednesday Club.
But we've called in wonderful friend Erika Ishii. You all know who that is, but I'm just making sure.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here.
You are also
look amazing.
Thank you.
We were having a moment of noticing you're the only one who's actually wearing a comic book themed outfit
I'm so
right
surprised.
now.
I've never seen Amy without a comic book shirt. Today's the day, and today's the day where you're talking about comic book
But you went 110%.
I did,
Yes.
because one thing that I wanted to talk about for today, because we're talking about con tips and such, is casual cosplay at Comic-Con.
Casual cosplay?
Yes.
I'm very excited to talk about casual cosplay.
Oh, yes.
That's going to be fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So just for the audience, who are you casually cosplaying?
I'm casually cosplaying as Jubilee, specifically the Kotobukiya statue of her, because I'm wearing the shorts and stuff, and she's like got the choker and everything. Because there's a lot of Jubilees through the ages. Vampire Jubilees, super rad, and like.
I like.
The first time ever, we can't hear you.
Are you serious? Oh my God, is my.
Oh no.
This is happening live, everybody.
No!
How did that happen?
Oh my
Now they can
God!
hear you.
Thank you. Oh, hello everybody. I'm Erika Ishii. I made a joke about being Matt Key and how I have a delightful wife who's practically Squirrel Girl, and I love Dr. Strange. And then
It's all
moving
true.
along, I said I was Erika Ishii.
Casual cosplay.
Casual
Princess.
cosplaying as
Kotobuki.
Jubilee, the Kotobukiya statue of Jubilee, because she's wearing the shorts and because she's got like the glasses up top and the.
Is it the Bishonen series?
Yeah, the
Oh
Bishonen
my God.
series.
The
Shoujo, sorry, Bishonen's the boys.
Well,
Shoujo's
because the
the boys.
Bishonen series is coming out, and now we have like cutie guys in comic book statue form.
I
Which
think
is really exciting.
this might be our first for those of you who don't know of the.
For those of you who don't know.
Shoujo and Bishonen. Bishonen tends to be is
Bishonen is pretty boys.
Pretty boys.
And Bishoujo is pretty girls.
When you're in the manga anime world,
Yes.
these things sort of divide right down. But they do have a statuary set of like comic book and like movie characters
Yeah.
looking very elegant
Yes.
and shiny.
Yes.
And,
Very shiny and anime. And so I'm dressed specifically as that Jubilee, or casual cosplaying.
Casual cosplaying.
As that. And cosplay and casual cosplay is a huge part of Comic-Con, and so I thought I might bring that to the table of Wednesday
the
Club.
big W.
The huge
I'm curious. Can I just leap ahead?
Wario
Like,
table.
Leap ahead.
how would you define cosplay and casual cosplay?
So cosplay, oh God, I'm just gonna get dragged
Erica.
for this, aren't I?
Yeah, Erica.
So cosplay is dressing up as a character that you like, replicating the costume as close as you can. Sometimes a lot of people have variations on those themes. They'll have mashups or some like steampunk or period piece versions of the costume. Casual cosplay is where you wear something that sort of hints at the character. It's somewhat akin to Disney bounding, which is where you dress in the palette of a character. In this case, I'm not wearing the jacket. I've got the earrings and like a pink shirt and a glove, and so it's casual cosplay, something that might slip in. You might be able to slip into a normal everyday outfit.
The idea is that you would sort of fit within
insiders
the
would
realm
know.
of something someone would wear, but if I look at you, I immediately
you
see
know.
Jubilee.
You have a thing, yeah.
You know.
It's like every now and then I see somebody wearing a brown jacket, a white shirt, and red tie, and I'm like, John Constantine? Is that
Yes,
happening?
exactly.
Is that what I'm
exactly.
seeing right now? And they either look at me and like, no, I don't know who you're talking about, or they go, pull out a silk cut cigarette.
We feel bad because we have a British friend who bleached his hair blonde and just happened to wear a jacket like that most of the time. And the first time he showed up, we went, Constantine! And he's like, no, I just did my hair. It was just like,
very
too
good
bad.
British
We're all
accent.
going to see it that way.
So we're talking about Comic-Con. We're talking about San Diego Comic-Con. And hello to everybody who just watched the the preview that we are late because we shot. Bless you. Welcome to the Wednesday Club. We're going to be talking about a little bit about Comic-Con, our experiences, things that you can do, the ways to get the most out of your Comic-Con without leaving feeling like it was all a big mess and everything went terribly, terribly wrong. And oh God, how did I end up in the hospital dehydrated?
Oh no! Don't do that.
Or with a bad back.
Yeah,
I had the
true
bad back.
story, bro.
Yeah. Don't want it. There's so many ways that Comic-Con can go horribly wrong.
Oh no!
And sometimes
Actually,
horribly right.
I am curious about everybody's worst Comic-Con experience.
Oh no.
I really
Nope.
want to hear that. Oh,
Nope.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I bet Talison's got stories.
I got a few. Yeah, Comic-Con can end very poorly if you're not careful. I did once end up south of the border. That did happen once.
What?
Comic-Con
That sounds like
happens.
it
like
have
2
a
hours
great
away,
ending,
isn't it?
though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
And if you're drunk enough and young enough and dumb enough, and if you're really trying to get a gig with a very particular company that was producing anime at the time that I will not name, yeah. I was not a good Comic-Con.
You
I was a
followed some bad
Comic-
advice?
I was a series of poor decisions. Yeah.
I don't know.
You have queued up
I-
a wonderful topic for today.
Well,
Thank you.
exactly. I am of the opinion that if it leads to a fantastic story, a lot of times it's worth it.
It's well, I mean, like it's a big, insane, dangerous place. Like a lot happens, and I say dangerous. It's a Comic-Con, for those of you who don't know.
I am gonna just throw this Ruzgoff DI. Worst
not-
Comic-Con experience: the 2 or 3 a.m. broken sprinkler in the hotel, triggering a fire.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard of that happening at a couple of cons.
Yeah. Yeah. These things, conventions are really interesting on a lot, and San Diego Comic-Con is the weirdest of all of them. In my, I've been to a lot of cons.
So there are many different conventions. They're sort of, as we know them, they are a 20th century invention. But obviously there are like a gathering with people who share your interests in various ways is a concept probably as old as time. But San Diego Comic-Con is sort of like one of the big ones on the scene, probably the biggest one in American
Yeah.
comic book
Yeah,
culture. I think we are
Japan has
outnumbered by
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con in Japan, Angoulême in France.
Mm-hmm.
Those I think are both exceed us in numbers. But as a comic book focused convention, especially in America, San Diego, I think it turned 40 last year, so this will be the 41st.
We might. Yeah, it depends on where they start the number. There's
Yeah.
a couple different places of where they start that number, but definitely somewhere in the 40s right now.
Okay, I actually might have lost track because now that I'm thinking about it, I think it started in the early 70s. So we're way past
we're
40.
somewhere between 40 to 48, if I recall, depending on whether or not we start at the first gathering or where they first officially called it, like the San Diego Comic-Con, or when it came to San Diego, because it started somewhere a little smaller, obviously. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Because it started, one of the things that it started with a group of people getting together to celebrate comic books, and this started with one of my favorite characters of pop culture infamy, Forrest J. Ackerman.
He was one of the special guests at the very first proto San Diego Comic-Con. Was a fandom celebrity named Forrest J. Ackerman. He's kind of the godfather of fandom in a lot of ways.
He is the very first pop culture nerd, as far as I know, of the modern pop culture nerd.
It was a very striking example of such. He founded the magazine Famous Monsters of Filmland, which was the organ for a lot of people like keeping track of each other. But he came out of the very active fandom scene of sci-fi magazines in the first half of the 20th century. And I loaded up this picture specifically because
there we are.
this is Forrest J. Ackerman at the very first
he's so
Worldcon. This is the science fiction convention. This was held in 1939. And on his left is Myrtle Douglas, who I only learned about a couple years ago, so I'm kind of evangelical about this. She basically invented cosplay. She made the costume that she is wearing along with Forrest J. Ackerman's costume. They were based on a 1936 science fiction film. So they showed up as characters from a popular movie. For anyone thinking that this is a new phenomena, they did this in 1939 at the very first World Science Fiction Convention. They were staples of the fandom scene. They ran a fan magazine together for many years. Eventually, Forrest J. Ackerman started Famous Monsters in 1970. This is 30 years after he showed up in that costume. Oh, side note from the first Worldcon, because I went down such a rabbit hole doing this research. They co-sponsored a kid to the two of them put the money down so that this kid could come to the first Worldcon. Ray Bradbury.
What? That's incredible. What?
They were all friends from the letter columns of different
That's
sci-fi
another thing that I was
magazines.
going to say is that a lot of like the fandom as we know it now existed in the letter columns,
Letter
and then
hacks,
also
as they called them.
cosplay as we know it now. Was mostly like sometimes it would be at cons and they'd have contests, but a lot of times it was through these fanzines. People would put out fanzines and they'd publish like little compendiums of cosplay. Yeah, things like just movies.
They were making these up until the 90s, until the
Yeah.
late 90s. These fanzines.
Yeah.
I actually may appear in a couple of them. Just saying.
We need them. We need them.
They exist. They exist. They're out there.
What can we tell? Okay, what can you tell us about them?
There were a couple. I don't remember the names of any of them off the top of my head, but I show up definitely in my Inaba costume from Urusei Yatsura.
Oh my God! You did Urusei Yatsura cosplay.
I did Inaba. I did Ryoga from Ranma 1/2.
You did Ranma!
Even better. Even better. I did Ixer from Ixer 1. I actually crossplayed. I did Ixer from Ixer 1, and actually that shows up in
For
one
those
of
of
them.
you who don't know what's crossplay,
Crossplay is where you dress up as a character who is of a different gender than yourself, and make it work. And I made it work.
Holy moly!
Pretty.
Chat, get
Pretty.
on this.
There was an 80s wig. It had the whole deal. There was red
Okay,
spandex.
well, we gotta find out what the titles of those magazines are, and
They're out
I'm sure we will get pictures by the end of the episode. Go do your detective work.
I may link to
folks.
the Inaba. There's a video of the Inaba costume that's pretty good. But Forche Ackerman also was really interesting. Was that he used to run up until almost the day he died. Ran a science fiction and fantasy museum out of his house that he would invite people to his personal collection. It was the Willy Wonka collection of just insanity. I think they published a lot of it on CD-ROM back in the day. I know CD-ROM.
Great.
Like
No, yeah.
I know it's
Good.
like it's such an 80s hacker nightmare. It's like if you hack the Ackerman house and find the CD-ROM that contains the collection. It's got to be out there on the internet somewhere. I have
Great.
not
so
found it.
early elements of conventions were talking about things that you have in common, doing panels covering the history of things, as we've learned, wearing costumes to things, which I think in Britain was called fancy dress, right?
God, I hope so.
Like fancy dress
what?
balls? So verify this for me, but I'm pretty sure fancy dress is wearing costumes to conventions in Britain. And folks, if I could get a plug-in for this, that would be amazing because my little screen is going to die.
Oh, that's right. Our computer is comfortable.
Plugs. Sorry, guys.
We need juice over here.
Now it's gone. I'm trying to keep an eye on chat, but
It'll be fun. We'll get back to chat.
But so the first really comic book focused convention I think was New York in 1964.
That sounds. I have notes here. I'm pretty sure that's correct.
There's a book that just came out about it that's full of really interesting stories.
But I mean, the whole notion of having like expos, and there have been the World Expos for quite a while, where people have been just doing these sort of presentations. But the idea of having futurists kind of come together to talk about pop culture, and it wasn't really even considered pop culture yet. It was just this notion of science fiction and fantasy being just a different way to look at the world, and these people who were really finding, I don't quite want to say an identity in it, but a little bit of an identity in it, and coming together with like-minded people and encouraging the development of more writing and more art and all of these disciplines. And it grew and grew and grew, and there are now conventions. There's anime, comic book, and pop culture conventions all over the world, all over the country, every weekend of the year.
Remember when there used to be such a thing as con season?
Yeah, it
Wow.
wasn't just year round.
I know. Summer used to be con season once upon a time, everybody. It kicked off mostly with Comic Con in mid-July, and then it would continue through PAX, and and sort of end in October.
There'll be an anime expo at the top of the
Anime
season.
Expo in 4th of July weekend, and then sort of wind up by August, October,
We'd all
year
go
round.
home.
It's
We'd
year
go
round
home and breathe.
now.
And that doesn't
There
happen
is no
anymore.
home now.
There's so many more cons
Yes.
to go to.
And cons in different countries are definitely very different. Like I'll actually say I've been to Comic-Con and in Japan, and it is nothing like there's.
What's it like?
It's really, there's not a lot of panels. They're not really talking about it. It's mostly a lot of independent press people selling their work, independent model makers, toy makers, comic or doujinshi writers selling huge tables of them. It's like a football field's worth of it.
Doujinshi is sort of fan comics based on established properties.
Or sometimes original, and sometimes
original.
sometimes a little sketchy.
A lot of times very not safe for work.
Not safe for work, but there's a lot that actually, I mean, like a lot of people are trying to get
some,
picked
yeah.
up there, and so they're like with one of the big
Sort of independent comics,
yeah.
yes.
And so it's mostly just like a lot of buying and selling. I've actually seen teams with walkie-talkies because there's just no way to cover it in one day.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And the cosplay is very formalized. It tends to be there's no. Well, we're going to talk about the cosplay show that we do out here. There's no show out there. It's very much more of a structural showing of what you built. It's kind of more of an exposition of craft.
It's funny because different conventions focus on different things. Comic-Con is known for its panels. For
When we say
instance.
Comic-Con, we mean San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego Comic. I'm sorry.
There's
San
more.
Diego Comic-Con.
They've had branches.
Known for the panels. Dragon Con is known for their cosplay.
It's all about the cosplay.
I mean, they
Dragon
have
Con.
a convention floor and they have panels, but mostly it's known for its cosplay.
Anime Expo is known for its lines. Sorry.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
Much.
Oh, that's the only shade
and
I'm going to throw.
there are other comic conventions that are known for their dealer hall. It really just kind of depends, and there really is something for everybody.
And San Diego is a big. I mean, blessed. It started as a comic book convention, and now it's a pop culture convention.
Although
yes.
it was
Well-
both from very early on, which I don't know if you saw the picture I slipped in there. But will you find 1976 in those pictures?
Thank you, Chief.
This was so Comic-Con started, we think, in the early 70s, depending on when you date it to. I think maybe 1970 in the El Cortez, and then. There is a picture in here from 1976 of somebody making their very first. Oh, that's the program. Thank you. Sergio Aragonis did the program.
Wow.
And there is the table, somebody's table for a movie that would come out the following May.
Ah, yes.
If
That
there's-
little indie film that could.
They just were really hoping we'd get an audience.
Oh, no, is that picture gonna? Do we have that picture?
It's
in
possible
in the
that I
box?
screwed up and didn't put the picture in there.
Okay.
But if you look up Star Wars 1976
we got
San
it,
Diego
we got it.
Comic-Con,
We
Yeah.
got it.
Sorry,
we got
guys.
It. That's okay.
I should label my
Spoiler
pictures
alert.
better.
Wow.
Yes! Star Wars at
Yeah, they were
Comic-Con.
just giving away these posters. It was this film that they were just hoping to find an audience for there. I
Wow,
love that
that
story.
is-
They did a panel for the comics. Howard Chaykin talked about it with, now I'm forgetting, maybe Roy Thomas, whoever was writing. And they did a
Holy
presentation the summer before it came out at Comic-Con.
That's so crazy.
So it's always been a pop culture
That was going to be
convention.
76. But I mean, the whole thing is sort of. I mean, to be fair, comic books have sort of taken over pop culture at this point. We've won. What we have won, I don't know, but we won it. But it is a massive place, and it is a massive event, and a lot of news gets made there. A lot of things get announced, and it's a place where, as a nerd or as a pop culture nerd of any kind, there are a whole bunch of very, very rich industries trying really hard to curry your favor. It is a very odd reality.
And you will hear a lot. There's Comic-Con, especially in its current form, is not for everyone. It
No.
is enormous. It is busy. It can be very overwhelming. And the good news is
Yeah.
that there are all these other conventions we're talking about, they're actually really great alternatives if it is impossible or just too unpleasant to think about.
That's a very good point. It's
Like-
extremely crowded, but there are smaller conventions that will focus on the thing that you prefer to do. One thing I will say about Comic-Con is that that has alleviated some of that is that the whole city has become the convention center.
It is.
You really do not need a pass to go to Comic-Con any longer because there are events around the city. For instance, Geek and Sundry. We're showing something with Alpha and Nerdist at an activation site at the hotel nearby. That same hotel is hosting Nintendo. Around the city, there are pop-up shops. I learned to play Magic for the first time at a pop-up shop. It was an empty gallery that Wizards of the Coast had set up in, and we're just teaching people how to play Magic.
There was one
These are
year.
called off-sites. So if
Off-sites.
you want a good
Off-site
list, you
events.
Google San Diego off-sites and the current year, and you'll find some good roundups on what's going on around the city.
There was a year where they were promoting Tron, and so they opened up Flynn's Arcade and had
Oh, gosh, yeah.
classic video games to be played.
There was an
And
Assassin's Creed obstacle course across the street from the
Oh, that
convention
thing was so
center.
scary.
Oh my god, and people were doing the eagle dive, and I was like,
Oh,
oh, I'd
no.
really love to do that, but it's terrifying.
That just looks like such a lawsuit. Traditionally, though, there are a few things, and especially we'll talk a little bit about offsite and onsite. But offsite, there's a few things that traditionally do pop up. One of my things that I really like there are things called drink and draws. If you're an artist, I hope that you know what a drink and draw is. But if you're any kind of artist, digital, just starting out, an old, a seasoned pro, groups of people get together. They take over a bar. One of the big ones is the Gallery Girls. And they get figure models to wear like cool costumes. Sometimes they're pirate themed, sometimes they're caveman themed. You sit, you have a drink. There's some good music playing, and it's nothing but artists sitting drawing all
Do
night.
they do those down there?
Yeah, and they do them. There's like every night you can find a drink and draw in San Diego Comic-Con, and like it'll just be, not only will it be like new artists and young artists, but like seasoned professionals.
I did not know
and
that.
people that you really respect. You can actually get to see live drawing and like see them work. It's just spectacular. And there's just these great costumes and just people.
Right. Gallery showings, and many studios have some sort of sites or museums or costumes on display.
Adult Swim takes over that small park on the
Adult Swim
side.
on the Green.
Adult Swim on the Green.
There's shows. I know that the Bearded Men are participating in. They have Star Trek: The Improvised Generation in the
Elisa
gas
Pearl.
lamp. Yes.
There is the largest lightsaber battle in the country happening. I wrote that one down at the Balboa Park.
Nice.
You can look that up.
Balboa.
They encourage Star Wars cosplay, but just show up with your lightsaber and everyone's going to battle. There's just going to be a giant lightsaber battle. These are the things that with a little bit of poking around, that you can do without ever actually having to set foot inside the convention space.
So what is, and we have a million great questions here now that I've got my screen back. So-
Yes.
But out of curiosity, what are your tips if you make it to the floor?
On the floor.
Oof.
Comfortable shoes, water bottles.
Oh my God, comfortable shoes. Don't even kid yourself. You're going to be walking. I had my back go out one year. It almost ruined my con. I let my back just decided it was done. Comfortable shoes are a big plus.
Yeah, hydration is really super important. Also,
Vitamins.
Vitamins. Also, realize that you are not going to see everything. Do not get overwhelmed. Back in the day,
This is key.
Yeah,
Oh.
back in the day, I used to, I'd wake up at like 7 in the morning and be like, okay, I gotta get into cosplay, I gotta get down to the floor, I gotta get to my panels, I gotta go see all these meetups, and I have to go hit the dealer's hall, and it was just such a nightmare. And so now I'll like wake up at 10 a.m. or whenever I wake up, I'll have a good breakfast. That also is key.
Yes.
I will pack my snacks. I will roll in whenever I get there. I will not harry my friends to get there any faster. We will do what we can, and know that some of the best moments that you will have at a comic convention happen by accident.
Oh, it's always it's another couple good rule. There's also get a little bit of antibacterial.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
No, everyone has come from everywhere in the world. It is.
There is something known as con flu or
flu.
con crud or
last
the
year
con plague.
last year I got con plague, and I was laid up so badly. Like Taliesin was driving us back, and I was like in the car in the back seat dying.
Oh, yeah.
Like with the chills, and for a week afterwards I was
It was,
terrible.
and just because there's so many different people coming from so many different places in the world,
Yeah.
there's the chances that you're going to meet something your body is just not prepared for is really high. So you just have to take some common sense. I know this sounds silly, but no. Wash your hands, soap and water, the whole thing, like
Also,
you're going into surgery.
There's the PAX salute from Penny Arcade. Instead of shaking hands or hugging, which I really am a hugger.
I'm a hugger.
But for this one, like sometimes I will understand if the PAX salute is you address somebody like this, and you go,
Now it just
Elbow.
looks like you're doing
Yeah.
Wonder Woman. So
yeah. Now that's
Yeah.
the Wonder Woman. I
Dual
guess.
purpose.
So, yeah.
Obfuscate.
Yes.
There we go. My goth nerd moment. That is actually, that's one of my big tips. There's actually, I will say we also have 3 of my favorite tips, which are our Burning Man tips, but also apply to Comic-Con, which are, you are not responsible for anybody else's good time. That is a good way to make Comic-Con go badly, is to spend all your time worrying about what your friends are doing and making sure that they will let you know if they need help, and if they're going to do their thing. And the other thing is, no one is responsible for your good time, and so don't end up in a group of people doing something you don't want to do. Let them go do it. Have them text you later. Oh, your phone data is going to go through the roof. I'm so sorry.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Bring a charger. Bring one of those.
Oh, battery packs. That
Battery
is
pack.
the most useful thing you could possibly have is the juice, like the extra battery chargers for your cell phone. I 100%, like my life has gotten so much better since I got those.
And the Wi-Fi is spotty, which means it will eat up your battery.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
very, very badly. Do not. No one is responsible for your good time. You are not responsible for anybody else's good time. And just remember that every time you make a plan, God laughs.
This is very true.
These are some things. Is trying to wrangle people is very, very difficult, and don't get frustrated if you can't get the people you want in the room and in the place you need them to be. So many of our best interactions happen by accident.
Yeah, I'm an intensely social person, and I love going places with people, but at Comic-Con I kind of roll solo because I
Yep.
know I'm gonna bump into a ton of people, and maybe we'll like form up and go on our own for a little while and disperse, and just know that it's like you cannot keep everything ordered. People will get lost. Things will go
change.
awry.
Someone will be stuck on the wrong
Things will
side
change.
of the train crossing,
Yes.
and
Oh
they're
my
not going to
God.
make it.
Yeah.
So Comic-Con is in a constant fight not to outgrow itself. Which means that like it's occupying a larger and larger physical area as these offsites get involved, but also the convention center itself has like a train crossing right in front of it that becomes a mass of people, and it is very, very important to be safe and not try to get like through that crowd any faster than you can. Like you just have to accept the speed at which that crowd is moving and do your best.
That guy and push through.
But like it means planning a lot of time between destinations. If you need to get from one end of the floor to the other, that's going to be your time for a while, or go out the back and walk in back. That works really well.
A little bit of a mental map. That's also really helpful. There's an upstairs. The convention hall itself has 2 floors. There's the upstairs floor, which has all of the panel rooms, and the panel rooms tend to have like triple letter designations, and has
Except for the panels which are being held in nearby hotels.
Except for the no, my God, they've made it complicated. We'll get into that.
What?
Oh, wow! Way to make it look really unpleasant, and yet exactly
I mean, it's
like
delightful, but if you don't like crowds, you may prefer a smaller con.
Yeah,
Because it is going to be
so many
like,
beta
but I mean,
blockers
you know,
involved in
manage your
that.
energy, like, or not like manage your energy like I'm scolding you, but like don't be afraid to manage your energy. If you can manage 2 things today, you still might have a great Comic-Con.
And the other, I love meeting people. I meet people every year. Even like there's always these weird chance encounters, and other people are also going to be managing their energy, especially veterans of this reality. So if you're very, very clever, and you find those quiet places to sit down and just like have a drink, or like, you know, and by drink I even mean like just like some fruit juice or something, a beverage with some sugar in it. Don't be afraid to juice and carb. You'll feel good.
There's a Starbucks inside the con, and the line is always long, but there's something very zen about just being like, I've committed the next 25 minutes to this line, and I'm just not going to think about anything. I'm just going to watch the cosplay.
And you're going to meet you do get lucky every now and then. Well, you'll just be sitting there and like minding your own business, and like one of your favorite comic book writers is going to be sitting there chilling, having a drink too. And it's a great way to like you literally never know who you're going to run into. It's just dumb.
It is also there's a delicate balance at Comic-Con between understand that everyone else is having a very busy, stressful week, but also don't be afraid to talk to people. Just be smart about it. If they are literally in the middle of a meal, they might really need this private time. But you know, it's not like if you see someone walking down a hallway and they don't look like they're booking it because they have to be somewhere in 2 minutes on the other side of the building, it might not hurt to be like, hey, I'm a huge fan of your work.
There's some really great cues. There's a few restaurants and a few bars.
I don't know, can anyone nail that advice down?
Well, no, I can't. Well, like,
It's so hard to be like, be careful, but
it's
say things,
hard.
but be
The
careful.
thing is, it's really situational, and as Amy said, you have to really learn to read the situation. It can be difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you see somebody is in a rush, or if they say, I'm so sorry, like I can't right now, or if they're obviously their eyes are darting and their body is moving, like you that is the time to back off and be like, thank you so much, I just wanted to say thank you, and back off. But also a lot of times people are just happy to be there and chat with people, like-minded folks who enjoy their work.
if you're running through a hotel lobby and there's a big table, and there's like somebody that you just want to say hello to, and they're there with 4 other people, and there's room at the table, that generally means that they're okay with having a 5-minute conversation with somebody who walks up. They're not, their back's not to, they're not in a one-on-one conversation with someone. Their back's not to the hallway, like they know that they're visible. There are some signs that somebody is actually sitting there because they know that maybe they have a chance to make somebody's day. Like there are people who specifically are like, I'm going to have a drink in this bar because maybe I'll meet somebody interesting and somebody who wants to meet me.
It also does not hurt to ask. If you can ask, like, oh, if you're not busy, do you mind if I say this, or you know, just ask. Asking is fine, and that gives them the out of saying, I'm sorry, I'm really busy right now.
Or if it's a big table with a bunch of people who are obviously not entirely talking to each other, I mind if I sit here and then just enjoying the conversation. Even just listening to people talk can be, even if you know who they are and you don't want to like make a nerd out of yourself, and you're like, oh yeah.
This also brings.
Yeah, no, Firefly's rough, man. I get it. Yeah.
This brings up a topic that is definitely worth addressing, and that is cosplay and cosplayer etiquette.
Cosplay etiquette. So
cosplay is not consent.
Let's talk some cosplay. Okay, props. Let's start. Let's start simple.
Right.
Well, let's start with the etiquette
even-
stuff and then describe
Etiquette-
some of the
etiquette
gameplay.
to- etiquette to
Etiquette is
process.
very important.
I think I've loved seeing in the last couple years is that a lot of cons are posting very visible signage to help remind us that, like, as much as it is a joy for the rest of us when somebody dresses up in a costume, there are some reasonable limits that you should put on to make sure that you are treating them with respect. So there'll be a lot of times posted signage outlining the harassment policies for conventions.
Right. Cosplayers are dressing up because it is in the end for them. I mean, they appreciate that other people will appreciate their costumes, but because they are dressed scantily or dressed however they are, that is not for you. You do not have the right to touch them without their permission, to
Never.
even photograph them without their permission, and you may think,
This took me a
hey,
while, actually.
yeah.
As a kid going to conventions, I was just like, oh, a costume, click, click, click.
Exactly.
And it didn't seem
seems
weird,
like,
but
well, they're dressed up. Why wouldn't they want their picture taken? Sometimes they're eating. Sometimes they're having a private moment. Sometimes their costume isn't actually quite ready for that moment. Like they don't have their helmet on, or they like have straps loose or something, and they want it to look good for your photograph. So it's definitely worth it just to ask. It doesn't cost you anything, and almost 99.999% of the time they will say yes.
Or
And then they'll
give me
strike a
give me
cool
one,
pose.
give me
Yeah,
1
amazing.
minute and they'll get it all together,
Yeah,
and
right.
then they'll do a cool pose.
Yeah, so it's not even just about it's impolite. Sometimes it's just like this is what they would prefer.
Yeah.
So always
definitely
be
never
conscious of
touching,
that.
but it's
Yeah.
very polite to ask
Yeah.
about taking photos.
Yeah, and also too, asking to take a picture with somebody, that's cool. Do not automatically assume that you can put your arm around them. Maybe just
Sometimes
ask,
they'll. Thank you, Chief. Chief is on it.
Oh wow.
This is a
That
short
third line
phrase
is definitely
indicated that's sort of designed to remind you that, like, just because they decided to put on a costume doesn't mean that they have started a social contract that gives you rights that you wouldn't have with any other stranger. You wouldn't
that's
go up
the
to a
thing.
stranger and touch them in this way. There are some cosplayers who will play along and be super cute, and like I've seen
Yeah.
Deadpools who carry you and whatever.
Oh,
but
gosh,
that's
yeah.
because it's their choice what they want to do and are comfortable doing, and
Right.
it's just good to keep in mind.
And
There's people in those
it's,
costumes.
it's a fun, fabulous part of fandom that you want to encourage. And the easiest way to encourage is just make it as comfortable and fun as easy for everybody as humanly possible.
And by that token, also one exciting thing about cosplay, and the reason I really did it for so many years, was because if you see somebody in a costume, that means that they spent a ton of time dedicated to doing something about a character that they love, and they also love that character as much as you do. So, like, by all means, go up to them and be like, I love this character so much,
Especially if
Tell me
it's
about
an
it.
obscure character,
Yeah,
that's always so nice.
especially if it's an
If
obscure
you're dressed as an
character,
obscure
yeah.
character and someone finally recognizes you after a day of people like this, and you're like, this isn't Grendel, I don't know what you want. And finally, like, oh, thank God, finally.
We've got some great comments in chat. Moon's Rain says, as a cosplayer, I also love being asked because it lets me know how many people are enjoying my work.
Yeah.
Jeff M says, yes, be polite to these people. It took a lot of time to make their costume. Duganator says, also say hi first. Don't just walk up to them, say hello, introduce yourself, ask them about their cosplay. They may be in a hurry. That is a thing that happens.
And I've met a ton of friends because, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this character, or I love that anime, or I love that game so much. You obviously are a fan. What was your favorite part? And it just is a conversation starter, just like a cool T-shirt.
If it's your first time at con, you also might not know about cosplay meetups.
Yeah.
This is a thing. If you're dressing up like, let's say, as an Overwatch character, and I know who you are, or as an X-Men character or a Doctor Who character, there are times and places that have already been set up at Comic-Con for everybody in these costumes to get together, and it's such a great experience to be there with 60 other cosplay, literally with every single Doctor from Doctor Who all in a row together.
I gotta see some 13s this weekend. I hope you're working on your 13s.
Gosh, I'm so excited about that. So cosplayers, if you're a cosplayer or a photographer or a fan of a certain fandom, it's definitely worth looking up to see if there are any meetups. There are Reddit threads about these things. There's Facebook groups. If you Google it, I'm sure you'll see like meetup at San Diego Comic-Con 2017 for whatever it is.
A couple specifics. We actually, Japan Rose reminds us in chat that there is a Critical Role fan meetup, which I would guess might feature some costumes. I think it's on Saturday, but you can tell each other in chat.
That's right. And there's a Team Human meetup at 11 a.m. on Friday at the Carnival.
And speaking of cosplay marches, I'm just really excited because our sister company Nerdist is having a March of Wonder Women. If you are any form of Wonder Woman at San Diego, I think that's also on Friday.
There's one of the things that they have at San Diego is they have horse-drawn carriages. This is a thing that happens. They're very expensive.
Right.
They're really ridiculous. I've almost been run over by them before. But there is something delightful about being really hungover on a Sunday and then just a horse-drawn carriage comes barreling down the street with a giant Thor and a Wonder Woman just like arm in arm. It's
also the pedicabs that are themed out. Like I've seen, some Daenerys in the Iron Throne pedicabs.
There are little bicycle cabs.
They're very expensive.
Human-powered bicycle cabs.
They're very expensive.
San Diego is a really, one of the things that makes this convention really special is that it takes place in downtown San Diego, which is just a really nice area that's like a nice walkable zone with tons of great restaurants and things to do. So navigating it is its own internal challenge. You get every year someone will sponsor like all of the bicycle taxis and other things like that. It's really fun.
Sometimes, occasionally, they'll offer them for free. If it's like 2 a.m. or something, and they see you wandering around, they're like, hey, you want one for free? And then you just tip them, and you can get a little free ride.
It can be fun.
I've
almost been run over a couple times.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's the costume show. There's the there's the cosplay event.
The masquerade.
The masquerade.
So the masquerade is the formal cosplay pageant. So people will enter and they are judged on their workmanship, and then they also do perform a skit, and you can win a contest for who has the best skit, and then so you get to, it's a showcase of incredible cosplay, and then afterwards there's the masquerade ball, and everybody, it's like the biggest nerd prom ever. I gotta say, like, oh man, I went for a couple of years and it was really fun because you saw the craziest things there, people in costume just like on the dance floor. But it was a bunch of, we were all socially awkward geeks, and people just did not dance.
There are costumes that people wear at this show that are too big to wear on the floor often, or too complicated. The skits are running gags. There was a running gag about The Rock, not The Rock the actor, but somebody had a prop Rock. Many years ago, they did a Hawkman costume, if I recall. It was many years ago, and they came out on a little rolling rock, like posed as Hawkman. And like on like a little like a piece of statuary from Sideshow Collectibles, and then like something went wrong and the Rock couldn't leave the set, and so people just started chanting Rock, and eventually there was like Return of Rock, where like instead of just like the Rock itself just like made an appearance the year after. It became a weird running gag.
I haven't been to the masquerade in a long time.
It's a very long show. You really have to devote. I
watched it one year from the Sales Pavilion, which is nice. It's not being part of the live audience. They were broadcasting it essentially to one of the upper deck areas where you could sit with food and just hang out with people, and that was a very nice way.
That's a nice way to do it. That's a wonderful like kind of other like post dress up kind of fun way. The other kind of pseudo dress up thing, and I don't remember. I was trying to look up where it's happening this year. Is the fashion show.
Right, the Her Universe fashion show.
The Her Universe fashion show is amazing.
Yeah, a lot of our friends model for it, and it's fantastic because it's an evening of they receive applications from all over the world of people who want to create haute couture costumes, or not costumes, haute couture high fashion based on geeky elements. So you have like a Groot like evening gown. Last year, my friend won with oh my God, it was a Marauders map gown. So
last year had a theme. They were doing a theme last year, which were outfits that have some sort of technology involved. It was all about trying to integrate some sort of.
So yeah. I think
either they had to change, or you had to 3D print something, or like any way that you could kind of think of to make something interactive.
That has become common for it now, because like the transforming dresses ever since Chloe Dykstra wore the
Sailor Moon
dress, where it was like a Sailor Moon.
Those who watched last summer on How To Squad, we actually had Lital Platt come and show us the transforming Sailor Moon dress with the individually applied feathers that she had made. As a very serious fashion designer who's also a big nerd, who made a dress that transformed a la the sequence from Sailor Moon. You can find this online.
The sailor sort of like the sailor fuku, the Japanese schoolgirl outfit, and then she pulled a cord, and suddenly it was
pink ribbons,
this Queen Serenity gown,
and a Queen Serenity gown with pink ribbons going everywhere.
But last year, Camille Falcone wore. She created a Marauders map dress that was a blank white dress, and then you waved a heat wand over it, and suddenly the Marauders map appears.
Oh.
It was incredible.
So I really like the fashion show. One of the things I love about the fashion show is trying to integrate nerdy things into my daily wear.
Right.
You learn a lot. You get a lot of ideas. I mean, even though it's definitely girl centric and like there's not a we haven't quite made the
Focused on women's wear?
We've been focusing on women's wear because it's just more interesting. But like there's slowly we're starting to get some of the guys are starting to realize that they can actually do something with this too, and I'm enjoying like there's a couple suits right now that have like there's the subtle bat and Superman symbols.
Right, that
like,
is
stitched
Hero
in.
Within by
Yeah.
Tony.
He's lovely.
Yeah, and last year he was exhibiting his designs just for the first time at a small little party. This year he's throwing a huge party and he's on panels and it's fantastic.
But it really like the little ways that you can like signal to the world of like kind of what you enjoy and kind
Yeah.
of having nice subtle. It doesn't have to be the nerdy T-shirt anymore. Like I really dig that it doesn't have to be the nerdy.
It's
T-shirt.
really
We
a
fought so
glorious
hard
time.
for them to make
I
those
know.
shirts in women's sizes. Right? Hold on to them.
I know. I remember
But
back
it's
in the
nice to have
day,
more
I used to
options.
have to cut up guys' T-shirts.
And now I have nothing but envy at Hot Topic
I
every time I go there. I'm like,
know. Oh my goodness.
You ignored us, so we made our own, and we made it so
so
awesome
good.
that you're stealing it back for the
Yes,
rest of
we
it.
are.
It's
I
good
think
though.
they were worried for a while that there wasn't going to be a market for men's fashion, just because, like, oh, guys don't dress up, that kind
we're
of thing.
feeling the pressure.
Yeah, well, it would be. I mean, goodness knows, like, I love the subtle, like, superhero jackets
Oh.
and like it's sort of the inspired stuff, like cufflinks and
Oh, yeah.
and like subtle tie prints and the
I have,
polo shirts with like
I
a
have
little.
I have Hydra cufflinks that I'm very proud of.
Yes.
Little things.
Oh, Fatty Melt says this is my first time hearing about her universe. I'm so into this. Look into it. Ashley Einstein has created
It's
something really special.
they do amazing
I
work.
will
I mean, like
say-
there's a bunch of places.
I will say that make sure to try them on first
Yes.
because they fit well for certain body types, not always for others. For some of the other fashion.
Who are some of
lines
the who are some of the other fashion lines? Because there's Gold Bubble Clothing.
Gold Bubble Clothing.
that does
I'm a
great
huge
stuff.
fan of. These are friends of ours. Novos has
Novos.
recently started carrying dresses by the same designer as Gold Bubble Clothing.
Can we bring you on for like a
For
nerd fashion
guys,
special?
oh, we will. I mean,
I
like,
have
for
seen-
guys, there's Mustard Brand. Mustard Brand's expensive.
Mooster Brand has
but they're
this
they're very
beautiful-
expensive, but they're gorgeous.
Beautiful stuff. They have like a Deus Ex line. They have some Legend of Zelda really subtle
Yeah.
hoodies.
Portal. They do
Yeah,
some
some
Portal stuff.
items. We love
Assassin's Creed.
Fine. We love Fine.
We love
has
Fine.
A lot of great stuff. They
Oh.
also partner with Mooster Brand.
Boys and girls stuff.
Yes, boys and girls.
I've
And,
never been able to afford a single thing there, but black milk is amazing.
Black milk.
That's why we go to it. Gold Bubble is for the people who can't quite afford
Yeah,
black
yeah,
milk.
yeah.
But they do
Black
really
milk
like
is
they're not like a low, but like they make them much more.
Yes.
I bet black milk is
More
They're a
amazing.
little more accessible, as does I believe.
I know I'm blanking on the other one.
Yeah, like Mitmonk does leggings and other spandex. Living Dead Clothing also does geeky ones. They've actually got a lot of video game ones now. They have a license for BioShock. And I think Legend of Zelda, or they have the Legend of Zelda inspired things. There's a lot of the geek fashion you can find at Comic-Con, or sort of, you will see it on people at Comic-Con, and that is one of the places that I really kind of have built my wardrobe, is seeing other women and men and saying and going like, oh,
Women, men, and
where did you get that? And everybody's always delighted to tell you about
We're
it.
gonna have
when you
some
talk about-
fancy shoes
Yes.
this year.
Oh, I love those.
Have you seen my fancy
I
shoes?
haven't gotten to see them in
Oh, they're
person.
really
I'm
good.
very excited.
But I should point out now that at the end of the episode, because we're trying to figure out ways of putting little things on YouTube that make sense, we're going to talk about a topic of your choice at the end of the
We're
episode.
going to try this timed challenge
This
again.
timed
because
challenge.
It was really fun last
I
week.
think it's either 5 minutes or 6 minutes this time. I was pressing for 6, so we each get 2. But it's 5 minutes this time because they know better than to listen to me because I'm like always wrong. Bless you.
But suggest some topics.
I know.
Liz is going to pick one out.
Thanks, Liz.
Suggest some topics. Liz is going to pick one out. Pop it in my document with a bunch of, by the way, these wonderful questions.
Lots of questions.
I have this is a good one. I know this was something I saw pioneered
So
at
yes, think
Emerald
of some
City.
topics and let us know in the chat.
Is there a chill out space at San Diego Comic-Con? Are there
So-
some like some chill out rooms this year?
Well,
I know sometimes some cons have started designating official areas for it.
I
as
don't know
well
if
as
there's
whatever
official
chills.
areas. I will say that if you're feeling overwhelmed, there are a couple good ideas that I would recommend.
You do that while I look up where there's a real one.
Get out of the gas lamp district. Just
That's downtown.
downtown San Diego is going to have nothing for you. It's going to be pandemonium like a zombie apocalypse. Sometimes there'll actually be zombies in hordes wandering around.
There'll be a Walking Dead activation, and they'll be making
And
people
it's
up, and there's
just
like a
a
zombie
lot.
walk. Yeah.
Head in either direction. I recommend actually heading towards the hotels that are just beyond the comic book convention. Their lobbies tend to be a little more chill. There tends to be a place where you can get some food. There's a little barbecue place that's just further down the street, down the railroad tracks.
Dave's.
Yeah, literally it was like
With the
featured
pig?
in Top Gun.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I like
There's
that.
also a peninsula. If you go down, there's like a little peninsula that's like a little park.
There's Seaport Village.
Seaport Village.
That one is there. There's some
And
spots
sometimes
there.
they'll have events there, but even when they have events there, it's a nice, quiet, grassy knoll. Maybe somebody will be. Sometimes people just be giving away samples of free like juice drinks.
Yeah.
That's a really good calm down for me. Also, the other side of the convention center, if you can just hit anything on the water, the minute you get into the harbor, like anything on the harbor side, even like the upper floor of the convention, can be a little calmer. There's an autograph signing area at the second floor of the convention that's kind of an open air.
Right, yeah, the sales pavilion.
Sales pavilion.
So the sales pavilion has a bunch of tables, and a lot of times you can just sit there, and it's like just a little bit of a more chill area.
There are people, but not too many.
Yeah, and especially after all the hullabaloo of registration, it kind of clears out. So in
Well,
like
we're not having
days
registration this year.
Oh, that's right. Well, they sent most of the badges.
Yeah.
Important
out.
tips for Comic-Con are to just look for any updates about how to, like, different conventions have different policies for where and how to get your badge. They will basically change every year. So just
It never works.
they're all figuring out together how to smooth out the process of registering and managing thousands of people, and mistakes will be made.
I'll say in that direction, there is a Comic-Con app.
Yes.
It is actually helpful.
I haven't checked any of the panels.
It is.
They didn't update them until like last week.
Yeah,
but
like
I think they're in there now.
it's got a good panelist. It's got a good list of like how to find booths on the floor.
Right.
It's got a pretty
But
solid
again,
list of activities.
internet
The
can
internet
sometimes be
is
spotty,
sketchy.
so that's
Take a
sometimes
picture of your
difficult.
schedule for the day on your phone,
Yes.
so that you can just open up your pictures
And I'll
know what room your
I'll
panel is.
also say it's an adpocalypse. That is my other thing about
Yeah.
this. Is like there are going to be pop-up ads that are going to make you want to murder things.
Also, by that token, do not be afraid to kindly and politely, but firmly, tell the people on the street, no, I do not want that flyer
No.
or sunglasses or whatever it is that they are trying to hand you. Just be polite but firm.
Ooh.
I forgot to
close
say,
hands.
Here, you throw this away.
right.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I'm so sorry.
to
I have
say,
no hands, and just keep walking.
Before I forget, Guillermo del Toro's advice for Comic-Con, Hector interviewed a bunch of people in a previous year about what their Comic-Con tips were. Guillermo del Toro, being everybody's uncle, said, always bring a second pair of pants with fruit in them, and that way if you split your pants, you have another pair, and there's fruit to eat.
Perfect.
Guillermo del Toro!
That's kind of, and
Why are you
that's
so
that's the
great,
end of our episode right there.
That's amazing. I'm still trying to find this stupid information. Sorry, guys.
no, it's okay.
Just if there are officially designated like chill out rooms at Comic-Con, which
I
is
mean,
becoming
it's
increasingly
difficult
common.
because, you
Yeah.
know, like, it's just such a circus that if there were designated areas,
They would just be
Just
overcrowded.
getting to them, yeah.
overrun.
There'd be free posters in there. But like that upstairs pavilion tends to be kind of quiet.
pavilion can be-
And there's
can be
also an
okay.
art gallery. That's where the art show is.
art's great.
And the art show tends to be kind of empty.
Yeah.
And you can just they make you put down your bags and take a little ticket, and you do a little walk around, and like you're definitely going to see something interesting, and it's quiet. Everyone's being quiet, and everyone's kind of giving you some space, and there's not a roof directly over your head. There's a little bit of air. It's a little less claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Hey guys, there's one jerk hanging out in the sales pavilion right now.
Ah!
Who's that with Brittany Wallach?
Matt sent some photos.
Oh.
We told him to send you things, but I wasn't sure if we'd be able to get them in time to use them.
Oh
Yes!
my! Yay!
Yes,
Oh, at the
Comic-Con.
Marvel.
What is he
He's at the
holding?
Marvel booth.
What is that?
He's holding a copy of Generations.
Oh.
He's got early comics.
That's amazing.
Red Key,
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Justice League.
how is there so many people there already?
Well, okay, so interesting thing about the history of Comic-Con. Comic-Con is a 4-day convention, traditionally, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But there used to be, there still is, it's still called preview night, but it used to be an
Wednesday
actual preview, which was like, people are done setting their booths up, and sort of industry people wander around and
Actually get their stuff.
Right. But now.
But essentially now it is just another full half day of the con that happens Wednesday night.
Oh, God.
But it is where you'll get your first look. If you're going online right after the show, you can probably already see some pictures from the booths that are set out, some early announcements, that everything kicks into gear Wednesday night. And this is amazing. Everyone is dying of jealousy, as are we.
Yeah, as are we. We're literally driving down tonight after the show.
This, we are putting my bag in your car and
we
we're
are out of
heading
here.
out. I found recently, like, Facebook suggested the photo from last year of us being like,
Please
our
put that up.
crazy road trip last year.
I love it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please
I need to
continue.
Facebook stalk you from last year.
so great.
Toonies on asks tips, and we haven't talked about this yet, for tackling Artist Alley and the vendor floor.
I was gonna go panels, but we can do Artist
Okay.
Alley and vendor floors.
Either way.
There's no.
So
the
Artist
chat
Alley
wants.
is the most crazy bananas thing because it is all your favorite artists of all your favorite comics, and they're just sitting there.
They're just there.
They're sitting there, kind of glassy-eyed,
Yeah.
a little like.
They will draw. Most of them will draw anything you ask them to for a little bit of money.
This is once
That's nuts!
the rule is don't be a jerk and pay attention to the clues around you. Everyone has different policies.
Yeah.
Certain people at conventions, they will take commissions in advance and their drawing time will be dedicated to
Yes.
that. Other people will have a little sign that says basically head sketch $15 or whatever.
Or print or.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll usually have prints and comics for sale, but that's the key is we went to the Usagi booth last year, and Stan Sakai was just there.
That's the thing. Every year, like I mean, I remember the first year I was so nervous to go up to him. He is like the world's nicest man, and like
He's like literally a human bunny rabbit. He's just.
Oh, he's so incredible. And I remember back in the days when I would cosplay, you know, he'd ask for a picture. And I'm like, yes, I love you so much. It's so crazy. Like your favorite, like these people that you look up to are just there.
So,
a tip, as Amy said, read the situation. If you want to talk to them, be respectful of their time still, and don't block their booth. If other people want to go see them,
Make sure other people can buy things.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're not like stopping sales from happening or making or creating a wall.
Yeah, and they are trapped at that booth. They cannot get away from you if they need to. So I've learned the hard way.
Yeah, like give yourself 5 minutes and then move on. Like that's always a good policy. And I'll say like the dealer's room floor is kind of divided into fiefdoms. It's very Game of Thrones. And there are countries I do not recommend entering because they are hostile and overpopulated. They're usually called Fox, NBC,
Warner Brothers.
CBS, Warner Brothers.
You gotta go by.
Section one tends to be plastic figurines and Artist Alley, which is A to B, and that's the top of it. And Artist Alley is actually like set at a different angle to everything else. It's kind of vertical where the rest of the con is horizontal mostly. Very small booths, mostly independent people, very easy to talk to. There's a little bit of plastic figurines and like some basic art supplies is where you get there. It's not too crowded.
Yeah, and then the next
Markers.
section next to that is going to be a lot of like clothing and sort of craft goods.
A little bit of gaming material.
A little bit of gaming.
Dice.
That's where the chess X is. And then I think actually above that, no.
And then immediately after that is TV Land, and TV Land is I mean like if you're down to get in line and like really if you're ready to lose, like if you want like the best virtual reality Japanese subway simulator on earth, man, they've got it down.
Yeah.
They're just
packed.
You will move very slowly.
Right.
They do put on a great show at this
Yeah.
They put on a great show.
It's fun just to walk past at some point in the weekend.
If you're really, there's one show I'm super into, and I'm going to be doing their event thing, and I'm going to line up for a couple hours, and I'm going to do it. Like,
Yeah?
those are long
What's
lines.
that?
If I tell, then everyone's going to go,
Okay,
and I don't
oh,
want. Okay, fine. Okay,
yeah,
fine.
that's true.
It's the Wednesday Club. I'll tell them. I'm going to be doing that Legion VR, like the Legion experience thing. I want to do
what
it.
now?
Legion's got a thing. I'm going to be doing it.
Oh my
Tomorrow.
gosh.
I'll be there tomorrow for my panel. So that's the one that I really want to do. But like, you can get like One year we got photographed for like Clone Club. They were giving like photo IDs for like, it was like Torchwood IDs. I don't remember. There was I got the Prisoner. I wasn't even a big.
Prisoner IDs. I remember doing that.
I wasn't even like I didn't really love the reboot, but I love that I got that ID, and it made me really, really super happy. Like weird ephemera happen in TV land.
TV land right in the middle. That's where a lot of like Cartoon Network stuff is as well. The big inflatable things. Yeah.
And then you get into like there's a little TV land has the Island of Anime, which is a little more chill, where Funimation and Viz kind of live.
Funimation, Viz.
Good statues.
And then sort of like merch stuff.
Toy,
like toys, your NECA,
Islands of Misfits toys.
Sideshow.
Expensive statues.
How is there not a Candyland-esque board game that's just going through the Comic-Con?
I actually would love to create. Oh no!
Oh my
this shit is
Why
on.
doesn't that exist?
We will make it. We're gonna bring our guidebooks back, and we're gonna give them.
Yeah.
We'll make the kids make us a board
and
game.
up top above that is Small Press.
Small Press,
which is
little
somewhat
chill.
akin to Artist
like Artist
Alley,
Alley.
but a lot more prints and kind of alternative, less comic book, more like
look,
A lot of
no,
comics and things as well.
Less art, more small, like the people with books to sell. Like it's less about their art and more about their books to sell.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward. And there's also a little bit of statuary, a little bit of crafting.
Yeah.
There's like the official Serenity, the Joss
brown
Whedon
coats,
fan club.
yeah.
The brown coats are there
Broncos
selling
always have
there.
a booth by the snack bar.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Right by the Loot Crate booth.
And then there's and then on that other side there, and then you get to the actual
Classics, comics,
yes.
collectible, like old collectibles, ephemera, like
Vintage. Yeah.
vintage.
And then
My vintage people.
And then on the other side of that is the land. That's truly the land of misfit toys. That's where all of the vendor booths are. The wall-to-wall packed on Sundays. Sort of like there's comic books and figurines.
Traditionally,
and
Sunday is shopping
resellers.
day.
Yeah.
The truth is that every day is shopping day. But
If there's something that you were hoping is going to get discounted and you don't think is going to vanish,
Sunday.
you buy it on Sunday. That is where somebody really doesn't want to take that back to like Atlanta.
you'll find people displaying, like selling actual old vintage back issues. This market has shrunk somewhat as the internet makes it easier to find those things. Like in the old days, comic conventions, you really went there because that was the only place you could find that stuff.
I will plug, especially since Mile High will not be there due to political issues and sadness, but like my favorite, if anyone wants my favorite vintage comic book dealer, or my personal vintage comic book dealer is going to be there, just Torpedo Comics.
Oh,
and
Comics.
I've been buying from, not Torpedo themselves, but like from the people who run those booths. I've literally been buying comic books from them since I was a teenager.
Who runs the half-off graphic novels booth?
I don't know, but they're great.
Yes,
oh.
that's every single year. I remember it was a thing when I used to be with somebody that would like every year, like the thing that I would get from them was I'd get the Sandman, like the Sandman volumes and stuff, like, and you could always, and that
It's
was
a great
like,
way to buy volume 3 of something.
yeah, exactly. it was, and you just like paw through and get what you get, and sometimes you can find some real treasures.
That practical tips brings us back to like you will get a con bag, which is usually enormous. It has a lot of room in it, but remember, everything you buy, you got to carry. So take into account where your hotel room is.
Oh, no.
One of the most useful things.
Are you going to do it?
Ever.
Are you going to do it?
The bag check service. The bag check service for like $2 or $3 or something like $2 to $5.
I didn't know this was a thing till last year.
The $2 to
I've been coming for
$5.
almost a decade.
They will hold your bag for you for the entire day. It is the most useful thing
if you buy something
in the world. Oh my God! If you bought something big, if you want to get rid of your bag for right now, it's just the best.
I've got another one.
my life.
I got a thing that I bring every year. this is the one year I forgot to bring it. I may have to buy another one. A poster roll.
Yeah.
A hard tube poster roll.
A lot of times they have those for sale.
They have those for sale there, especially they do the clear, there's a clear plastic ones they make. I keep waiting for someone to make one that looks like a giant like space age bazooka because they kind of look like that to me.
Right, they do.
But like I've had so many beautiful pieces of art crushed in the island of TV land.
Yes.
Like just it's a great way of making sure that these things survive the trip home.
I love this from Dervish. That discount day was when I got my first ever Magic decks when they were first released.
Yeah.
And we also have a hashtag bag check hype from that nerd.
My goodness, it really honestly changed my life.
It's a big deal.
Yep.
That is a very, very, and
It'll be on your map, like it's in like by entrance B or something like that.
Yeah. Another tip, and this is for others around you, please shower and hygiene.
Hygiene is so important.
Hygiene is really important because it is really hot and sweaty out there. Everybody's packed wall to wall, and just proper
Shower
hygiene.
hygiene.
We all
considerate.
understand
Clean.
we're human, but take whatever steps you can.
And if you are a fan of perfumes or colognes, like
too much.
keep it low key.
Yes,
Keep it
yes,
low key.
yes.
I'm a big fan. I keep it low key. Not low key. Although one year I did keep it very
it
low
low-key?
key. There was very low. Have you not seen my low key cosplay? It's on. It's beautiful.
What?
Oh yeah. There's
What?
like.
Oh no! Kai
So
made you the horns.
I was gonna say he made me
Kai
the horns,
you
and
the
there's like
horns,
tons of
but
pictures
the
of me with like
mini
Chris
horns.
Rickabaugh as Winter Soldier, and we're just like getting all weird.
That's
great. I know. What? You got what?
What?
Oh my God!
Oh!
You are a terrifying creature. Holy cow!
Well done,
Chief is so good.
Wow.
Chief, wow.
You're so
Oh.
scary.
I had so much fun. That was a fun year.
That's so good.
That was a fun year. We had a good
So yeah,
costume.
you've both
Yeah.
done it in costume many times. I love
Oh, yeah.
cosplay, but I've never really
I
done
have
it.
I have
Okay.
been a dealer. I've worked at a booth. I have been a guest. I've worked security for I've done everything at a
Wow.
convention at this point.
Oh, be nice to the volunteers.
Oh my God,
Oh
please.
my
People work
goodness.
so hard
Yes.
to make your Comic-Con as good an experience as you can have. And a lot of the times they are volunteers.
Yeah.
Please be nice to them
Be
and
kind.
thank them. A lot of our tips are just be nice to people, but like the truth is, I get it. It is easy to forget all of the rules of normal interaction when you're in this magical wonderland.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
your favorite person in the universe wanders through frame, and you're like, "What is happening?" And it's just go back to these defaults.
You know, it is worth saying, like, for all the warnings and the rules that we're saying, honestly, it's the most magical place. I remember growing up not having the kind of people that I could interact with on this level, and I always say it's incredible because like you'll be in the bathroom stall or something, and you'll be like, "Hey, so like Boba Fett with a jetpack versus Luke Skywalker with a hand missing. What do you think?" And the girl in the stall next to you will be like, "Oh well, are we talking about original trilogy or?" And
Pretty soon I like Toaster, I like
everybody
one of the
will
yeah.
have an opinion, and just everybody is so jazzed to be there, and they are a fan just like you. It is just this electricity that's wonderful and contagious, and I love it. And we're so fortunate to get to go.
I was trying I remember one year like running into this random Scottish girl who came to con without a badge, a hotel room, or any plan.
Oh,
no.
But like was so Scottish that she just like had the best con ever because she found a place to crash. She and her boy found a place to crash. Like by night one, they had already like gotten into a weird, like as only Scotsmen can, like weird like fun yelling match with Simon Pegg at the bathroom. It was just that whole video. She goes, "Fuck you, Simon Pegg, you piece of shit! Wash your hands before you come out of the goddamn bath!" And just making friends everywhere with their just obstinate Scottishness.
That's very Scottish.
It is very Scottish, and if you find those fun, quiet places or those interesting, weird people who are charming and fun, you're just gonna have a great time, and you're gonna make friends. So many for the friends I made at my first conventions, I'm still friends with. Some of them are pros, some of them are still fans.
Yeah.
Ricky and Tavisha, I've known for Ricky and Tavisha who are from slave labor or beyond that now.
Right,
with,
yeah.
Tavisha, it's just it's great to watch everybody just grow up in
These
this.
are these magical moments. I remember one year, I think I had a dream that I went to Comic-Con dressed as Gaz from Invader Zim.
Oh, you'd be such a good Gaz.
Jonan Vasquez was there, and I woke up and I'm like, well, I guess I got to do that. so I got this costume and I wore it there, and somebody's like, "Oh, are you dressed up for the signing?" I'm like, "The what?" And it's because he a lot of times he just won't go, but he's just there,
You
in
find
a
the one
Slave
year.
Labor graphics booth, and he looked at me, he's like, "Oh, you're Gaz," and I'm like, "I'm kind of a fan," and oh
That
my
was
God.
that was actually a very good Joan
It
Vasquez.
was, yeah.
Oh,
I
look
was
at you.
like, "Oh, hey," and it was just magic. I was like, "My dream came true. My dream came true."
No, and to be fair for him, that's him losing his shit.
I
To be
know,
fair,
right?
it's like, wow, that's really
understand.
cool.
That's another thing to keep in mind. A lot of your favorite pros one of the glorious things about Comic-Con is that we get to shine a light on people who often don't get any light shown on them. And it might mean that, like, I hope no one has ever a jerk to you. It is possible that will happen.
It can happen.
It might
There's also
happen.
some of them who are just as scared of you as you are
I know,
of them. And there
yeah.
might even secretly be loving that you stopped and said something, but they don't know what to say either. And so sometimes they'll just make a face and go. And, like, it's okay. They're just humans.
Yeah.
They may still be treasuring that interaction because they're like, somebody knows my comic.
Yeah.
I have been told from the Supreme All High Commanders of the Wednesday Club, just to remind everybody to put some theories for topics for our little five-minute topic in the chat, and just keep throwing those out at us, and just so we can do something fun for the end of the episode. I want to talk panels.
Yes!
Panels. Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con is
San Diego
known for
Comic-Con.
its panels. It draws some of the best talent from all over the world.
And related topic, a great thing to do when you're researching a con. Most cons have special guests, and these are folks where they're in, like, and this varies con to con, but in many cases they are able to help support getting them out there. Like, that's a whole can of worms. But the special guests of the convention will usually be listed on the website. They'll give you a brief bio, and that's a great way to find out, like, oh my God, my favorite artist who hasn't done anything in 10 years is getting a special award this year, so they're going. Just tailor your thing, and then, like, once you've seen who the special guests are, you look at their individual schedules, usually on their website or social media, and find out where you can find them, and that's how you start planning your schedule, along with panels.
Panels. So everybody knows, well, I say everybody knows, this is the show for not everybody knows.
Yeah.
There's a thing called Hall H, and that's kind of, I'm gonna start at the weird and work my way down.
Yes.
I've never been to Hall H.
I waited in line for Hall H once.
What year was this though? Because I remember I walked in halfway through a Disney panel one year, we were just there. Miyazaki was standing, we were like, oh, that old Japanese man looks a lot like Miyazaki, and then he went up on stage to introduce Ponyo, and we're like, okay. And that was back in the day when it was just, like, easy to get in, but nowadays you have to camp out.
You have to dedicate a day to get into Hall H.
I know.
I wanted to go see, actually, ironically, I was waiting in line to go see a Guild panel, because they were showing the Game On music video for the first time, but I waited for hours and did not get in.
Oh my God!
I was like, man, I'm just gonna go back and buy some comics. And I was like, man.
I lined up for a Felicia Guild DVD signing in the middle of the floor many years ago, which is like, I really like what you do.
I know. Well, she's going to be doing stuff this year.
By the way, she's on our panel this year, and
Yes,
there's
she
a
is.
Guild anniversary panel as well.
That's right.
H is kind of H is a weird thing. You have to be really into the notion that you want to see like 5 minutes of the next X-Men movie a month early. Like, if that's there's an energy to it. There is an energy to it.
That's what I understand, because, like, really honestly, those panels will be online pretty soon afterwards.
Yeah.
But what's really incredible about it are the moments where, you know, the actors will show up in cosplay, or they'll, like, run through the crowd, or you're there with 1,000 other people cheering and screaming. Yeah.
Is that where Karen threw her wig into the audience for the Guardians of the Galaxy to show she'd shaved her head, and then was like, oh shit, I need my wig back.
Right, that's
now I'm bald.
Or like Tom Hiddleston showed up in full Loki, you know, and just
started monologuing.
There's like a lot of moments that you are there for, and everybody else in the audience is like just as thrilled as you, and there's electricity, and that I understand, but I don't know. I've never been willing to wait overnight for something like that.
No.
So in these days, the general rule for those extremely large panels is that you'll end up, like, if you're going Friday or especially Saturday, there will be a line that they form the night before, and people will camp out. And if you're willing to dedicate that time, like, blessings on you. I have friends who were there the year they first brought out all the Avengers. And it was a surprise, and it is a thing that they will reasonably talk about for the rest of their lives, with like the moment of being there and participating in that experience. It has a quality of live theater, of like, you're watching this thing happen in front of you, you're physically present, you're all sharing that experience. And so it's pretty special, because for many years, I was always going back and forth to work or covering the shop, so I was usually only at con for a day or two. So I never wanted to dedicate that kind of crazy time to it.
Exactly.
But if you can, if your circumstances permit, permit you to do that, and you don't mind, like, you'll be waiting through some other panels, you can have some pretty extraordinary experiences. They take the showmanship really seriously now.
And for normal panels, I'd recommend like going through the panel list, finding the weirder, like a Rick and Morty panel is going to be full.
But
It's
I
gonna be
started
full.
overreacting, and I realized, like, you can just go to a lot of stuff because everybody else also assumes it will be full.
That's true.
I walked right
Some
into some
stuff.
Comic-Con, some comic book panels last year that, like, I walked right into an Image Spotlight panel with Matt Fraction on it. Because I assumed there'd be a 2-hour line, and I think everybody else did too.
It's worth doing the walk.
And it turns out there was room
I think
in
on
the
the
room.
actually
Everyone's
on the
overcompensating.
I will say that on the whole, the movie TV
Stuff gets
full,
And the comic book
the
stuff
comic book
doesn't.
stuff, even if it's rock stars, doesn't.
I will say, and the weirder panels, no one shows up for the weirder
Yeah.
and the weird panels can be great.
They're so much fun.
My favorite panel is, I don't think it's happening this year, but I've been to this panel 3 times, which is morning guided meditation with Grant Morrison and Deepak Chopra.
Shut
That is a
your
real thing.
face.
And,
Oh my God.
and,
No
and,
way.
and I say this because it's just worth it watching Deepak Chopra go. The thing I do not understand about Magneto is how the helmet, and you're like, what is happening?
What?
What is happening? We're having a conversation about how Magneto's helmet works, and it's just the greatest.
Less weird than that, but always entertaining is
Nothing as weird as that. I know.
Quick Draw.
Quick Draw.
Quick Draw with
it's actually
Sergio.
Mark Evan, yes,
Yep.
Sergio Aragonés and Mark Evanier, and it's just like they take some of the best artists in the industry and they make them do quick draws, and it's so funny. It's so funny.
Weird little film and game panels also pop up if you like some of the BBC shows if they don't have a super huge following.
Yeah.
Like I saw, Spaced had like nobody in there for their first Space run.
Oh, neat. I love this story that nerd apparently put in chat at some point. Best/worst SCCC. Friend and I were trailing a Tony Stark cosplayer by himself. Trailed him from about 10 feet away. Friend says, that really looks like Robert Downey Jr. I commented, great cosplay, but looks too short to be Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, no.
Continue following him. He takes a turn. Right into the Marvel booth and onto the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of celebrities go and cosplay now. That's like the hot thing to do. You know, they'll go
With the mask
cosplay incognito. I think Daniel Radcliffe did Spider-Man
Yep.
recently. Adam Savage is known for doing crazy, amazing cosplays in suits. And sometimes they'll just be out in plain sight. Apparently, Hugh Jackman did Wolverine, and people were like criticizing him for not looking enough like Wolverine.
Why would you say that to any
Why would you say that, Daddy?
So
Do not
catty,
say
so
something-
catty.
Don't be mean to any cosplayer.
Was it the Bryan was it Bryan Cranston?
Bryan Cranston dressed up as
himself. He was wearing a rubber mask
yeah,
of
a
himself.
rubber mask of himself.
A Heisenberg mask.
It was really great.
Amazing.
So cool.
I was there for that one. He was wandering around Hall H in the mask.
Yeah.
Chief was
Chief
there
said
for
he was
that
there
one.
for that.
He was
Oh my
wandering
gosh.
around Hall H in the mask.
Like
oh my
in
god.
a Bryan Cranston mask. Another thing I'd like to talk about, since we're covering random things, exclusives. This is a thing. It is both a good and bad.
Oh yeah, merchandise.
Merchandise, merch.
Exclusives make me sad.
Exclusives,
Oh, yeah.
exclusives both
Do
make
not-
me.
Here's the
Oh,
thing.
boy.
Don't ask your friends to get you exclusive merch.
It's too late.
If they do, they love you so much. Like I would not.
Well, there are 2 layers.
Okay, so first
Like,
of all, exclusives
there's
are
layers.
Yeah,
special
that's true.
merchandise that you can only get at a certain time and place. The idea being that over the years at Comic-Con, it goes from like, oh, well, I'll make a special version of this just for Comic-Con, which in one sense is a great way to keep costs down. Like if you can only afford to make 400 of them, right, San Diego this summer, and hope they all find homes, it's a special memento for people.
That's
Everybody
not
wins.
what it is.
Things may have gotten a little out of control.
A little out of hand. Now a lot of toy companies and everyone else will have just a flood of merchandise directly for San Diego, which immediately goes up on eBay. And the fight to get a hold of the limited
hours
numbers.
spent
you
in
have
line.
to get up at the
Hours.
butt crack of dawn.
Hours
You
spent
have to
in
wait in a line to get into a line to get a ticket to get into a line later.
They're trying to organize the process, so they'll do things like be like, okay, this one's going to be kind of a lottery of who has the opportunity to buy this toy, but that means you got up and you waited for hours for
Yeah.
a
To
To get a
chance
lottery
to
ticket
spend money on
to
the
spend
toy.
money to get in a line for the. Oh my
Yeah,
God!
it's crazy. It's crazy. I've never waited out in line for one. One of my friends who was an exhibitor at one point got me a Dragon Ball Z Scouter, which is like a Comic-Con exclusive.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah, and I still have that, and I know what that means. Like, to me, the time and effort that he spent getting that for me is like worth way more than the thing itself.
And it is one of maybe 4 or 5 times in my life where I'll occasionally do the "Do you know who I am? Please God know who I am, so I can skip this line, please." I have people who have sent me with a shopping list, and they are just already disappointed on me on multiple levels.
I know. I mean, and just know
it almost never works
when
either.
You ask somebody this of somebody, just know what
it is you're asking. Like, you're going to owe them 9-10 trips to the airport.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Look, I can't completely bag on it because I still have the tiny little Teen Titans figures sitting in their school bus that I got a couple years ago. I have my Saga action figures from last year.
Yeah.
They're doing a Lion Cat action figure.
They are
this
doing a
year.
Lion Cat action figure.
But the good news is they apparently, at least last year, they brought enough of them that I could cruise by the booth, the image booth, in the late afternoon, and there were actually some for sale.
And I'll say some are easier than others, and like there are places. And I actually I made a little list of things that I'm kind of.
Mattel
you
is
can't
gonna be
any major toy company, you're dead. I mean,
Yeah.
I will go visit friends in that line, say hi, go have lunch, come back, and see them again in line, and just like bring them drinks.
I remember the year
That
that
nerd says, I have those scouters.
I remember the year that they put out the portal guns at the NECA.
Oh.
I was so heartbroken. Luckily later they went up on ThinkGeek, but oh gosh, I remember.
So a couple things that I'm excited for, I will say, is they're doing Diamond Select's doing, which is not a bad line, is doing the Ironheart unmasked PVC statue, which I'm really excited about.
Marvel character.
Marvel character.
Riri
There
Williams.
we go.
Thank you.
That's the statue.
That's real good.
Like, that's just.
She looks good.
I'm probably, depending on how much I feel like how happy I am that like Manzi is working so hard, I may try and grab her the Hello Kitty Sonic the Hedgehog plush.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Well, I got Jenny. There it is. I got Jenny.
Oh God.
I mean, like, how can you not? That's so great.
Gotta give
go
hugs.
fast.
There's I may get the girl the NECA Coraline display set just because it's really pretty. What else is really?
Coraline display. See, I haven't even looked because
Oh yeah.
I just heard.
I've got a few. We've got a few. The Coraline display set is pretty spectacular. Look at that. On the comic book end of things, there's a special edition cover of Black Hammer #1.
Yes, it's very common. Variant covers
Which
have become
I'm
a thing.
really
for
excited
conventions, which
about.
is, despite my constant railing against variant covers, that's super cool.
The Dark Horse Black Hammer cover. Look at that. That's just
Really
so
good.
classic.
It's that logo for anyone who's. We had someone recognize appreciate our Justice League International shout out the other week.
There's a bunch of prints that I'm really excited for. There's just a whole bunch of really exciting stuff. There's a mini teeny tiny bottled city of Candor, like 5-inch glass city of Candor. Look at that. Look at that. I'm like,
beautiful.
I am going to spend, and like, there's some amazing things.
So I mentioned this on Game Engine. We were talking about the video game presence, the growing video game presence at Comic-Con. Blizzard has stopped selling San Diego Comic-Con exclusive merchandise. They have con exclusive merchandise, which is available at all the cons that they have. They have like premiere merchandise that is
That's a
available.
cool idea. Like they'll come to a con near you kind of deal.
Yeah. And then they'll premiere items at certain conventions and then have them in their store later. And then it's made it a lot less frenetic. And one thing that they have that is really cute is the Diva. It's like the Diva bunny keychain, and it lights up.
It's so it's got the little. I was looking at that, really digging that. That's really exciting.
Something Umber is wondering if Chief is actually AI. It's like too fast, too on it.
Some of
Chief is
I've
good.
been on camera today.
Zach claims he's been on camera today.
Haven't you ever seen Ex Machina?
Chief does in fact pass the Turing test, though. I will say it's pretty impressive.
Huh.
That makes it scarier.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know when we want to pull the trigger on this, but it looks like we have our topic.
We don't. We'll pull the trigger at the very end.
Okay. Can I, speaking of panels,
That's a hard one.
can I take a moment for a public service announcement? Did you know that if you have a badge for San Diego Comic-Con,
Oh yeah.
any badge that includes the day, Friday, you can go to the Eisner Awards? Did you know that the Eisner Awards are the premier awards in comics, and anyone with a badge can go? Do you know that they're held every Friday night at 8 p.m. in, not every year on Friday night at 8 p.m. in the Indigo Ballroom, and anyone with a badge can go? Do you know that many of your favorite creators and nerd celebrities will be there, and anyone with a badge can go? Do you know that they give you free Will Eisner books when you go to the Eisner Awards, and anyone with a badge can go? Do you know that there's usually a reception afterwards where a lot of times you'll get to congratulate the winners in person, and anyone with a badge can go? I've met John Lewis, I've met Neil Gaiman, I've seen Kelly Sue and Matt Fraction. The Eisner Awards are so much fun. They honor people who very rarely get the spotlight on them, and the room is never full, even though anyone with a badge can go. Eisners, Friday night. Nobody knows that this is a thing, but it's a thing.
Taliesin.
Can I go?
Do you have a badge for Friday?
Yes.
You can go!
God! All right, I'm going.
I got my second hug from Neil Gaiman at the Eisner Awards.
Very nice.
There's a picture of me with Dave Gibbons, and I look extremely nervous. I have a whole collection in my comics shelf of beautiful Will Eisner volumes because they just are handing them out.
They just give you.
They just leave them
for
on the
showing
seat,
up.
and a lot of people just leave theirs. They don't pick them up, I guess. A lot of your favorite creators are at that point wined and dined because they have eaten a dinner provided by.
They sit up front in special
them.
tables.
Yep.
Then there's
Yes.
a section for professionals where, like, I'm usually live tweeting, and then there's an entire bunch of seats that anyone with a badge can sit in.
There is a bar there.
There is a bar there. So here's the thing.
You're not gonna
I
be
want to
sitting with
keep
us,
saying
but yeah.
this. Well, not this.
I know.
I want to keep saying this every year until we fill that room. I want us to ruin the Eisners. I want it to be impossible to talk to people anymore because we finally got the word out, and that room has a line outside of it. Because it's insane to me.
Not that this is happening this year, but again, last year, John Barrowman in a Squirrel Girl costume.
Oh,
What
yeah.
more do you need?
Phil Lamar's presenting. He presents every year because
Yep.
he's amazing and a big nerd. But he's presenting this year. A bunch of comic book creators are presenting this year. Gail Simone will be giving something out on stage. Sergio Aragonis comes every year, and he's the most adorable.
So funny.
You'll see people get inducted into the Hall of Fame. They'll talk about they'll give out awards to underappreciated people. And then you'll have all the competitive categories, which are some of a murderer's row of the best work that was done in comics this year.
It's an impressive event. It's an amazing event, and it's never full. And which is ridiculous because a whole bunch of people.
It's because no one knows.
It's no one knows, and an interesting thing that happens, and when I talk to friends of mine who have a bad time at Comic-Con, it's usually because they spent way too much time in line. And especially with the party culture, people can get really, really obsessed with getting into these parties. There's a whole bunch of parties that happen at night, and that's really
parties.
It's a crapshoot. Like you really don't know if what you're walking into is going to be great or awful, and there's no really way to tell. But if you overinvest in a bad time, you're going to be sad.
Yeah.
But and so if there comes a point where I've been standing outside this club for half an hour, I think I'm just going to go see the Eisners. Just go see the Eisners. You're going to have a better time.
It's a
You're
nice,
going to be
cool
sitting
room.
down.
Like
in
worst
air
case
conditioning.
scenario.
And you're going to be surrounded by people who are really happy to be there, and it's great. And I will also say that we had for many years we had a proud tradition of there's a little mall that's a few blocks away from Comic-Con. There's that little open air pavilion mall that sells nothing of value that you would particularly want unless you're into mall shopping. But they have the movie theater in that little open air pavilion mall. And every year we would go see some very nerdy film.
Really?
And sometimes it would be amazing. Like we went to see, a whole group of us went to see Captain America in the original Captain America film there and had a great time. And then one year we went to see the old original Avengers movie with the original British Avengers.
Like Peel Avengers?
Yeah, and that sobered us up real quick. That was a sobering experience. But just even getting a group of people together to go see Spider-Man or Wonder Woman, and it's going to be a room full of big nerds who are a little tipsy and in the mood to just sit down and watch a nerdy movie together. And you never know who you're going to run into there. That's a nice way of taking a bit of a break from the con without really leaving the con.
Yeah.
See a movie. It's a perfectly fine use of
Interesting.
your time.
So, no, for me, I get antsy at Comic-Con, and I do want to like run out and do everything or something. You know, I can't like sit still in a room for a long time, and so I haven't been to the Eisners in like the past 2 years, I think. Or there's just something that's going on that evening.
Things get scheduled against it a lot.
Yeah, things get scheduled against it, but it always is a lovely time. I have a great time, and it's just really exciting too, because it's really what it's all about. This is kind of how it started.
Yeah, and you like get okay with not seeing everything. Like
Yeah.
really.
You have to. That was the really good advice from Erica earlier. Like you have to accept
be okay
that you
with it.
cannot see all of Comic-Con because it is impossible. If you were 10 people, you couldn't see all of Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I will be amazed if you manage to see every booth in the dealer's room.
Absolutely not.
You have accomplished something that is almost impossible, and you've spent days doing it.
Yeah, pick something, because you know, or a little taste of each thing. Honestly, like pick a panel that you would like to go to.
Yeah.
Go to a panel.
Pick, you know, like a couple of things. Wander the dealer's hall a little bit.
Do one
appreciate the
interactive
cosplay.
experience.
Yeah, one interactive experience from a studio, and keep in mind, like
Laser
keep your eyes up. Yeah, the laser tag at the Nerdist.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open too. I mean, because while you're walking, you never know who you're gonna walk. I like bumped and literally ran into Nathan Fillion one year on my way from one bar to the next. It was.
So when you mean keep your eyes open, you mean literally just.
Please watch your step, everybody. You don't want to knock over Mal Reynolds.
No, one of the little pedal cars that almost ran me over had Seth MacFarlane in the back of it once. So that was like
Great.
his smiling face was like the last thing I saw as I went keeling over into the train tracks.
Oh man.
But
You will hear a lot about parties and special events, and this is a thing that has just sort of grown up with Comic-Con over time.
You know, honestly,
I've had a lot of fun at like gatherings like that. I have danced, I've hung out. Geek and Thunder has thrown in the past. We've
had
done
some
like
good
surprise
parties. We've had some bad
and that's
parties.
been really
We've done
fun.
both.
I've met fun people. It's like you can have a really fun con without worrying about any of that. You can have a really fun con just wandering into bars, and you can have a really fun con going to bed early and getting up in the morning to do more things.
If you find the quiet bar, if you're really like if you have to decide if you're in the mood for a loud, boisterous, alcohol-fueled idiocy, which is a great time, but not a thing you want to do 4 nights in a row, unless you're 22 and somehow can do that still. God, oh yeah, no. But there's also there are, if you can find, especially not in the gas just like you can control a little bit of the Gaslamp district. You walk up and down. You can go into the bar at the Hard Rock Hotel. Also, Sci-Fi tends to do some stuff in there. And if you go in, like somebody interesting is going to be holding court. Like you're going to wander into, if you're keeping your eyes open and paying attention to who's around you and what people are saying, and you're not like too internalized in your own. You can get very internal there. It's a very easy place to like shut out the rest of the world. There's a lot of world to shut out.
Yeah.
But actors, directors, producers, writers, comic book artists, comic book writers, like they're all there.
Right.
And they're
like the Hilton Bar. The Hilton Bar, the Marriott Bar. True.
Yeah,
just
by the
creators
pool.
just hanging out
by the pool, just chilling.
at the bar.
I just remembered one of my favorite Comic-Con stories, which was it's not that much of a story, but like the virtues of paying attention to what's around you. I wandered past some booth in like 2010, 2011, or I don't remember exactly when. But I saw an artist who had been doing some covers I really loved for like a couple different things. She had a book called Mystery Society, I think it was, and then like alternate covers on DV8, and I just really liked her style. And I was getting sketchbook, this is a great thing to do, and I hadn't planned it out. I was using like a random notebook I had with me because I hadn't thought this through. Getting sketchbooks with themes or whatever is great, and that year I was getting a lot of like little headshots from people. And I got one from this artist whose style I really liked. Her name was Fiona Staples. There was no line. Because a year or two later, Saga got announced.
Right.
And I've still got my little Fiona Staples head.
Oh, wow.
Of I think I got Roxy from Gen 13 because that was what she was doing at the time. Maybe it was a Gen 13 reboot is what I'm thinking of. But it was so great because at the time no one knew who she was, so she had no line. Scott Snyder had no line, and I told him I was really excited about his upcoming work on Swamp Thing. He, of course, now has been writing Batman, was writing Batman for 5 years, and is the biggest deal in the universe.
Jerry Robinson at the Dark Horse booth had no line. He was just creator of the Joker, and I went up and I mumbled something about how, like, oh God, I loved him, like, since his introduction in, like, the 20s, and he's like, it was in the 40s, I'm not that old. I'm like, I know exactly what you mean, I'm so sorry. He means a lot to me, and, like, I was just so awkward, and I'm so glad I just took that chance and went up and talked to him. Because, like, 2 years later he passed away, and oh God, but you just never know. You never know.
No, your best Comic-Con stories are going to be about those weird interactions that happen in that weird hotel bar in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Like that midnight at the Hard Rock, midnight at the Hilton. That's the stuff that sticks with you a decade later.
Yeah.
And like, I was just rolling through again. Facebook does that thing. I'm like finding pictures of even just like Matt and like Matt Mercer and Cat Steele and Satine and a bunch of us just drunk at the bar being idiots, and it's great. And it's all about finding a place that's quiet enough. Like that's really, there's a lot of noise, and just finding the place that's quiet enough. People who want to engage are going to find those quiet places, and it's worth finding those quiet places. It's great. It's great.
We've got a million questions in here. I wonder,
Let's do some questions for.
Let's see. We've kind of covered con tips for parties, Terry the Sort of Gamer. Running full question, tips for making security and safety as easy as possible. Read the rules and obey them as much as you can.
Yeah, stick with the buddy if you can, or at least let people know where you're.
Tell your friends where you're going and
tell your friends
check
where
in.
you're going. Yeah, I tend to run solo, but at least like check in once in a while.
And if you're considering the nightlife side of the con, please, safety is an issue. You're surrounded by people who are your potential friends, but
I've seen two bad accidents at Comic-Con in my time, and one was somebody who was just overexerted themselves and fell over from heat exhaustion.
Oh, that heat exhaustion does happen a lot. So make sure again, keep hydrated.
Keep hydrated. Keep energy. Keep sugar. You want sugar and salt in your system, and don't be afraid to eat food.
Oh my God, California burrito! If you see me, I please tell me to put a California burrito on my face. I'm so excited for California burrito. I've been working out extra hard this week because I'm so excited going to Lolita's at the park or just any of the places in the gas lamp that have California burritos, because they do not do them up here in Los Angeles, and I'm so excited.
Oh, and my other safety: drivers are skittish.
Right.
People get hit by cars all the time. Be careful of like cars are not your friends. They can, especially like if somebody doesn't know that if somehow they were under a rock and didn't know that there's a comic book convention and suddenly their car gets attacked by zombies. That's funny, except it really happened, and someone panicked and slammed on the gas because a bunch of zombies
oh my God, are you serious?
rushed their car.
Oh no.
Oh man. And so safety first, and take care of yourself and be willing. Like some days it's just sleep in.
Oh, yeah, get enough sleep.
Couple more before, we'll do like one or two more.
This is an interesting question. To Spikey, how would you describe the difference between Comic-Cons and gaming cons, if there is a big difference? To Spikey has only been to gaming cons.
Gaming cons are specifically focused on gaming. Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con is, as we said, broad, mostly focused on comics and movies and TV shows. There's a little bit of gaming presence there.
There's an upstairs room with RPGs and stuff that not everybody goes to.
If we're talking about tabletop gaming, the focus is mostly like on, there are a lot of ticketed events and a lot of board gaming. There are board game events here.
Yeah, there are. And we're hosting a few.
Yeah, but it's not as much the focus. The focus is more on channels.
There's also, and I guess Gen Con is the
I'm going
exception.
to my first Gen Con this year, and I'm so excited.
Pageantry level that San Diego Comic Con is all about pageantry. There is
it's a spectacle.
It is
media circus.
It is the circus has come to town. It is billboards that are the size of skyscrapers. It is people jumping out of airplanes. It is things getting lit on fire. It is renting pirate ships and staging battles in the marina.
These are all things. These
that
are all real
happen.
Things. Yes.
So there is just a depth of intensity.
Yeah, gaming cons are about just playing games, and I'm not sure if you meant tabletop gaming or if you meant video games.
Which
if you
has
meant
some
video
spectacle.
games, that's a little more about just like honestly waiting in line to play games.
But you'll usually find all of them have programming tracks with interesting stuff
Yes.
where you can like hear conversations between interesting creators or developers. There are going to be similarities in crossovers.
Where is my button? I'm looking
Let's
for my
see.
timer because I know we got to do the 5 minute in a minute.
Yeah.
Boop, boop.
Ooh, I think it's time for our 5 minutes.
It's time for the talk.
call.
We are being the
Yeah.
powers
Alright.
that be are telling us that it's
This
time
is
for
so
this.
hard. This is such a good question, but I
Is
don't
it this
know.
one in blue?
Yes, you each get a minute and then 2 minutes of free for all.
A minute each,
Okay.
and then 2 minutes of
Taliesin,
free for all.
Amy, Erika, 2 minutes free for all.
5-minute timer up for
What
the
is the topic? Give me a second to macerate it before I hit the timer to start.
Okay.
so
What's
hard.
5 minutes.
What's the segment?
It's so this is going to be our 5-minute timed topic for the Wednesday Club, and we're going to have a minute for Taliesin, a minute for Amy, a minute for Erika, and 2 minutes of free for all. And this question comes from the Duganator 8.
Oh.
5-minute topic.
Oh, no.
You get to host your own con. Money is no object.
Oh, no.
Where do you host it? What does it focus on? And who are you making certain to invite?
Good God.
Oh no.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
All right. This is gonna go bad.
mean-
It's been bad. Here we go. Ready?
Are we ready?
I'm starting.
No.
You go last.
Okay.
You get our two.
You get 2 minutes
we
to
unfortunately
meditate upon
committed
this.
ourselves to this.
I want all that.
Host-
And go.
he starts.
So I've got to actually say there was Grant Morrison Con. There was a Morrison Con in Vegas that I thought was a really cool idea. And there's also the other con I've always wanted to go to is the Prisoner Con. Prisoner Con for the television show The Prisoner. I would host a convention at the hotel that The Prisoner was shot at, which is this crazy hotel on an island. And I would want to have I actually would love it like StoryCon. I love the notion of like just celebrating the notion of storytelling in all of its forms, not just comic books and films, but also talking about the shared storytelling, stage, like talking about theater, just like talking with writers, getting people like Grant Morrison, getting people like Joss Whedon, just getting like the greatest storytellers of the 21st century to talk about what it is that makes stories captivating and unique, and maybe even running some interesting meta-narrative story, like very much like we had with Dread, of like just running like a meta-narrative in the hotel itself, and actually having aspects of interactive theater that are actually part of the convention, like the convention itself. This is my whole thing: is a convention that is a game within a game. Go.
Oh my God, that's so good. I don't know what to say because I want to go to your actual con that's a LARP. Oh my God. Let's see.
I ruined life.
My mind is blown. I get to host my own con. Money is no object. So if money's really no object, I would love to really take the sort of the Disneyland like everything is designed sense that has grown up at San Diego, and it's in some similar ways to what you're talking about. Like I'd want different areas to be super themed out. So like if there is a day like that's just Jane Austen, like it's a full-on Regency ballroom that you're going around, and the design would be there. But where do I host it?
Where would you have that?
I'd want it to be like, I've had a really, like, someplace that I haven't been or haven't spent enough time in, like Edinburgh or Toronto.
Ooh.
Places I've briefly been that are just amazing cities. Like, I've never been to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, but I want it to be someplace like that with rich background and things. Oh, my answer's terrible. You go.
Fantasy Con. So all the different like fantasy fandoms, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Chronicles of Narnia, and like they all have, and so it takes place like in a castle in the woods somewhere, like in England, and so like you have amazing backgrounds, and it's kind of like a LARP, like. It'd be preferred if people dressed up and everything, so it's like a LARP, but then there's also like a dealers, it's like a Renaissance fair,
So it's a bit like SCA.
and like it's like kind of SCA-ish, but there's like different events. So there's jousting, but then there's also like panels for the different movies, and the authors are there for signings, and like backdrops, and like you can say, and there's like a fan fiction sort of a thing. So like people from different fandoms can do crossover like act out fan fiction crossovers and everything, and it's just in this castle, and there's backdrops, and it's everything fantasy.
Okay, so who do you make sure to invite?
Yeah,
Oh God,
come on.
like J.K. Rowling.
Okay,
would come.
well.
J.K.
Okay,
Rowling
yeah.
would come. Neil Gaiman would come. Just luminaries in their field, like.
You know what I would do is I would find out from those guys like design cons, like the Morrison Con, but
Sure.
like I want to find out what does Joss wish he could make like his form of interacting with people?
Oh, God, that
would
would be
he
so
like a
interesting.
day to be invisible while we all put on little shows for him? Would he like Q&As divided up
Dance
by
for
different
us.
people? Like, would, pick a guest and just sort of make the con shaped around them and their
What they
view of
want.
the world.
There's also because it just reminded me because I've been so excited about the notion of this Star Wars hotel experience that we're getting in a couple of years. The interactive. If we do like an interactive game con is going to happen at the Star Wars hotel where like a bunch of people all get together and like kind of create a narrative for themselves for like a
Right.
big push. If that's going to be a thing, I don't know why like narrative conventions are like really kind
And
of.
I love that idea.
I love the idea also
like
of like
escape rooms too.
Yes.
You know?
But if money is no object, you could also go super far with accessibility for cons. Like you want to make sure there's a reason not to stream everything because you want some experiences to be private and shared. But there are ways to like Skype in people who'd never ordinarily be able to attend, or like open experiences up in other like get really creative if money's no object in making sure everyone can find some way to participate in your convention.
Yeah, or have it travel.
Yeah.
Oh, like a circus con.
Yeah,
Like this little traveling circus con.
Circus con.
Yeah, so
Come
the
to
con
the
has come
city
to town.
Oh my God, that
Yes.
would be amazing. In a different city every
Right?
year.
Oh my God, if
Going on
anybody's
the road like old school Broadway.
Oh yeah.
By the way, if I remember anybody's ever read The Night Circus,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you read that.
And
Yeah, something like that.
I
It's
hope
like
that this
comes
answered
to
your
the circus,
question. My God, we're at 5 minutes.
Wow.
I want to go to your story con.
Yeah.
Sorry, God. I want to go to the prisoner. I want to go to the prisoner place.
Yeah, this has been our Wednesday Club 5 minutes. I'm Amy Dallen. This is Erika Ishii. This is Taliesin Jaffe.
Hello. Thank you for our. We actually still have 5 minutes just to wrap everything up. So next week, what are we doing next week? We're talking about. We're not going to say the name because I'm very
Okay.
proud of the name.
Well, I'm really excited because we've all agreed to go down at con and pick up some interesting things, and then we might bring them back and share our con hauls next week.
Yes, there will be con halls next week. There will be massive, terrifying. I'm going to be doing my version. If anyone's a West Wing fan of the cheese story, are you a West Wing fan?
I know.
I know the story even though I haven't seen the show. But
Okay, well, if anybody who's a West Wing fan who knows that there's a cheese, I'm going to be giving my cheese speech next week. It's going to be very exciting. So, there's like 5 people going cheese speech. Woo!
I'm not sure what this is, but it sounds enticing.
It's a speech I'm going to give about the Ape Convention, which is a convention that's gone now.
Alternative Press Expo.
The Alternative Press Expo, which was a convention that used to exist in San Diego, San Francisco, wrong San, which was really cool.
Do they not put it on
They
anymore?
do not-
I know Small Press Expo's still a thing.
Small Press Expo, but the Ape Show is no longer. And Ape's got it. I'll go into it next week, but Ape's got a special place in my heart.
An interesting final note for me that I like to put out because it was perspective for me growing. I grew up reading Wizard magazine and idolizing the Chicago and San Diego cons. They were for me. I was like, someday I'm getting to San Diego. And the truth was, when I finally got to San Diego, it was exactly as wonderful as I thought it was. But I heard all these people talking about sort of missing how it had been when it was a little smaller, and I realized that in the meantime, like I had lived in high school and college, I lived on the East Coast, and my con was Dragon Con. It was like
Yeah.
a 5-hour drive, but it was like you could get there.
Nice.
And the funny thing was, my Dragon Con experiences were incredible. And the more I heard people talk, once I got out here and started going to San Diego, the more I heard them describing what it was like to go to San Diego, the more I was like, I already had that experience. That was me sitting in on the random lightsaber dueling panel and the Wheel of Time costume contest, like with no special, like you do, which was just in like a conference room, and so the truth is, these mid-sized and local cons, Dragon Con's obviously huge, but like especially back when I was going.
But Dragon Con is all about the fan experience.
Yeah,
it's really
and
focused on it.
These find other unexpected shows, and you can have some really extraordinary experiences. Volunteer at one or start one if you don't have one.
And I'll say, like, as somebody who's a guest at a lot of these cons, the smaller the con, the like truly remarkable intimate experiences at small cons happen all the time.
Yeah.
And there are friends I've made from some of these small cons, even before I was guests at them back when I was just going for fun, that are like friendships for life, like legitimate friendships for life. It's really, and into your 40s, that's pretty spectacular. I think it's getting to the point where we should probably we got to. Yeah. Oh my God. We totally.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow. We were being reminded that we did have a wonderful piece of art added. This was our Hall of Justice, And Ken has added Superman and the Comic-Con logo.
This eye up here. Yeah, Ken
to-
Wynn is our incredible artist.
Who came in to do this wonderful stuff for us as we are our ever morphing strange monitors of Wednesday. We'll see you at Comic-Con this weekend. We'll be sneaking around a little bit. We'll be on panels. Where can they find you on the internet if they wanted to
That's
find
right.
you?
Thank you so much for joining us,
thank you.
Erika.
Thank you so much for having me. This was absolutely
Anytime.
lovely. It's always just a treat to get to chat with you people, just in everyday life, but to do it on the internet is even better. I am Erika Ishii. You can find me on Twitter at Erika Ishii. I'm going to be tweeting a lot this weekend. Please keep up to date for if you are there, so maybe we can meet up. Hopefully. I also am here for a Game Engine at 4 p.m. on Tuesdays. And gather your party normally at 9:30. It's at 9:30 p.m.
9:30.
9:30 p.m. on Fridays. This week we will be out because we'll be at Comic-Con, but I will be back next week, and I have my own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Erika Ishii.
Always fun.
Yeah, it's thank you so much. This was so lovely.
Yay.
I feel so fortunate.
Have fun, be safe, make new friends.
Where can
I'm
they find
Amy
you?
Dallen. You can find me at Amy.
And where can we see you other than here? You can see you
In-
all
in
Wednesday.
a few minutes.
In a few
on
minutes.
Shields of Tomorrow.
Plus, we will be at Comic-Con on the panel at
Panel 2:30 Friday, room
2:30.
5AB.
Yes. It's going to be great, moderated by Felicia Day. Hector's going to be there, and Sean, and
Eric
Eric
Campbell.
Campbell.
And I'm Taliesin Jaffe. I'm Executive Goth. You can see me on Critical Role on Thursdays. And if you're watching Dread, you should be watching Dread on Alpha because it's me. You can see both of us on Dread on Alpha. It's just getting scarier. There's no episode every Thursday. It's brilliant. There's going to be an episode of Shield of Tomorrow coming up that is going to be amazing and filled with Star Trek goodness right after this. So you should stay tuned for that. And it's amazing and delightful. And just to remind you, I found a wonderful quote from Matt Smith, one of my favorite doctors, on when he first went to Comic-Con. I'll try and do the voice. I think that if the world were a bit more like Comic-Con, it would be a better place. Aww. That's so true. Thank you all, and we'll see you next Wednesday. And it's